Good morning, everyone. My name is Jaira Jumalon, and I'll be discussing the remaining types of business taxation, which is the percentage tax and excise tax. First, percentage tax. Here, we are going to describe what percentage tax is. Quarterly percentage tax, we are required to file. What are the quarterly percentage tax rates? Third, percentage tax for transactions involving shares of stocks, so are required to file. What are the transactions involving share of stocks tax rate? So later on, I'll be showing a table indicating kung ano yung updated rates natin. And also, I'll be discussing various sections under this topic. Percentage tax. It is a business tax imposed on persons or entities who sell or lease goods, properties, or services in the course of trade or business whose gross annual sales and or receipts do not exceed 3 million pesos and who are not VAT registered. So for our basis, saan natin kukunin yung percentage tax? For the sales of goods, syempre dun yan sa gross sales, and for the sales of service naman, ang gross receipts. Quarterly percentage tax. So first, we have here the individuals who are not VAT registered with annual gross sales or receipts na hindi nag-exceed ng 3 million pesos. So under Section 116, any person whose sales or receipts are exempt under Section 109V for this code from the payment of value-added tax and who is not a VAT-registered person shall pay a tax equivalent to 3% of his gross quarterly sales or receipts, provided that the cooperative shall be exempt from the 3% gross receipts tax herein imposed. Second one is the individuals who lease residential units where monthly rentals exceed 15,000 but the aggregate of rentals is not more than 3 million. Third, individuals engaged in the following industries. We have here the cars for rent and hire under Section 117. Cars for rent or for hire driven by the lessee, transportation contractors, including persons who transport passengers for hire, and the other domestic carriers by land for the transport of passengers, except owners of bangkas and owners of animal-drawn two-wheeled vehicle, and keepers of garages shall pay a tax equivalent to 3% of their quarterly gross receipts. Next is domestic and international air shipping carriers. This is under Section 118. International air carriers doing business in the Philippines or gross receipts derived from the transport of cargo from the Philippines to another country shall pay a tax of 3% of their quarterly gross receipts. International shipping carriers doing business in the Philippines on their gross receipts derived from the transportation of cargo from the Philippines to another country shall pay a tax equivalent also to 3% of their quarterly gross receipts. Next, we have here the franchise grantees for gas or water utilities, radio or TV broadcasting with revenue not more than 10 million and did not opt to register as VAT. So this is under Section 119, Tax on Franchises. Next, we have banks and non-bank intermediaries under Section 121 to 122. Next, we have the individuals or company or corporations doing life insurance under Section 123. Tax on life insurance premiums, there shall be collected from every person or company or corporation except purely cooperative companies or association doing life insurance business of any sort in the Philippines, a tax of 2% of the total premium collected, whether such premiums are paid in cash, notes, credits, or any substitute of money. Next, we have here the fire, marine, or agents of foreign insurance companies under Section 124. Lastly, we have the operators and or lessee of cockpits, night or day clubs, exhibitions, pro basketball games, racetracks, high-alay, music lounge. This belongs to amusement taxes under Section 125. So for the rates, here is the quarterly percentage tax table. Ito yung mga rates niya, tax rates. Updated na rates ito. Next here. Here, for example, yung sa cockpits, yung basis nila sa gross receipts, So the tax rate is 18%. For the night and day clubs, 18%, boxing exhibitions, 10%, professional basketball games, 15%, hayalay or race tracks, 30%, winning on horse races, eto, winnings or dividends, 10%, winning from double forecast, 4%, prizes of owners of winning race horses is 10%. So next, we have here the percentage tax for transactions involving shares of stock under Section 127 of Tax Code as amended. So who are required to file? First, every stockbroker who affected a sale, barter, or exchange of shares of stock listed and traded through the local stock exchange other than the sale by a dealer in securities which stock shall be paid by the seller or transferor. Second, a corporate issuer engaged in sale, exchange, or other disposition through initial public offering of shares of stock in closely held corporations. Third, a stockbroker who effected a sale, exchange, or other disposition through secondary public offering of shares of stock in closely held corporations. So here is the sample table for the coverage, sales, barter, exchange, or other disposition basis, gross selling price or gross value in money for the tax rate, 6/10 of 1%. And for the IPO and secondary public offering naman, up to 25%, tax rate is 4%, over 25%, but not over 33 and 1/3% is 2% tax rate. Over 33 and 1/3% is 1% tax rate. Returns and payment of percentage taxes under Section 128. Returns of gross sales, receipts, or earnings, and payment of tax. First, we have your persons liable to pay percentage taxes. Every person subject to the percentage taxes imposed under this title shall file a quarterly return of the amount of his gross sales, receipts, or earnings and pay the tax due thereon within 25 days after the end of each taxable quarter, provided that in the case of the person whose VAT registration is cancelled and who becomes liable to the tax imposed in Section 116 of this code, the tax should accrue from the date of the cancellation and shall be paid in the accordance with the provisions of this section. Second, person retiring from business. Any person retiring from a business subject to percentage tax shall notify the nearest Internal Revenue Officer, file his return, and pay the tax due thereon within 20 days after closing his business. So the question is where to file. Except as the Commissioner otherwise permits, every person liable to the percentage tax under this title may, at his option, file a separate return for each branch or place of business, or a consolidated return for all branches or places of his business with the authorized agent, bank, revenue district officer, collection agent, or duly authorized treasurer of the city or municipality where the said business or principal place of business is located, as the case may be. So that's it for the percentage taxes. Okay, the next topic is excise tax. Is a tax imposed on goods manufactured or produced in the Philippines for domestic sale or consumption or any other disposition. It is also imposed on things that are import. These are the commodities or service subject to excise tax. First is the alcohol products under Section 141 to 143. These are the distilled spirits, wines, fermented liquor. Second is the tobacco products under Section 144 to 146. The first two products are what we call the sin products. Sin kasi these are not good sa ating health. Third is the petroleum products under Section 148. Fourth, miscellaneous articles under Section 149 to 150. These are the non-essential goods like jewelry, perfume, yachts, and other vessels intended for pleasure. Automobiles, non-essential service. Ito yung medical surgery under Section 150A of Train Law. Sweetened beverages under Section 150B of Train Law. And lastly is the mineral products. Okay, kinds of excise tax. As to amount only kasi ito yung computation kung paano natin kukunin ang excise tax. First is the ad valorem tax. Refers to the excise tax which is based on selling price. selling price ng, for example, car or land or any other properties or other specified value of the goods or articles. Second one is specific tax. Ito naman is based on the weight or the volume or capacity or any other physical unit of measurement. So I'll be giving you an example. Okay, illustration. Sample computation of excise tax. Sample ko dito is the black label. So selling price, exclusive of tax and VAT. So 1,500 pesos. By the way, sample lang yung mga amounts na nandito. So mag-a-add tayo ng excise tax. First is the ad valorem na 20% of the selling price. 1,500 times 20% is equal to 300 pesos. And for the specific tax naman, this is based sa proof liter ng isang liquor. So example lang yung 500. So a total of 2,300 pesos. Kung ikaw si Black Label Company, ibibenta mo lamang dapat siya ng 2,300 pesos. Pero yun nga, since na sales of good, we need to add the 12% VAT na 276 pesos. So a total of 2,576 suggested selling price. So kung ikaw si consumer, invest na 1,500 pesos lang yung babayaran mo para sa black label, magiging 2,576 pesos na siya dahil nagdagdag tayo ng excise tax and the 12% VAT. So, ito yung sample kung paano i-compute ang excise tax. So, this ends my presentation and thank you for listening. Have a good day.